Welcome to the Health News channel of the Iyer Clinic, where we bring you important news from the world of health and explain it in a manner that can make a difference in the choices and quality of your life. I am Lily, the Iyer Clinic's nurse educator. Adult onset diabetes is one of the world's fastest growing conditions, and together with obesity, it forms the foundation of a huge portion of the diseases that produce death and disability, such as cardiac disease, heart attacks, strokes, kidney failure, and general loss of functional health. Today, we will concern ourselves with adult onset diabetes, which is the most common variety and is very different pathologically than juvenile onset diabetes. In 2024, more than 38 million Americans had adult onset diabetes, with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reporting a total of 38.4 million cases, representing 11.6% of the U.S. population. This includes roughly 29.7 million people with diagnosed diabetes and an estimated 8.7 million with undiagnosed diabetes who are unaware they have the condition. Globally, the International Diabetes Federation estimates that the number of people with adult-onset diabetes has increased from 463 million in 2019 to 536 million in 2021. This is an increase of over 15%. The factors contributing to the increase in adult-onset diabetes prevalence include increasing rates of obesity, physical inactivity, unhealthy diets, aging population, and genetic factors. Diabetes is best understood as a mismatch between your body's capacity to use energy and the total energy that you consume and expend in physical activity. It is easy to understand this when you consider the body's metabolism like a table with 4 legs. Each leg represents one aspect of bodily function and the related behaviors that are associated with that function. These are the sleep-wake cycle, or when you are metabolically inactive versus when you are metabolically active, the feast-fast cycle, or when you eat, and the periods between meals when you do not eat, fuel energy input, or the total energy you put into your body, and how calorie-dense that input is, fuel energy output, or the total energy you expend per day in physical activity, and how much of that expenditure is in sustained duration activity. All 4 legs of the metabolic table need to be balanced for the table to be level. Most diabetics live a life that puts burdens on their metabolic capacity that exceed the genetic architecture of what their body is capable of handling. Imagine that you had a Volkswagen Beetle as a car and you entered a race with Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Bugattis. Your Beetle would have a hard time matching the performance of your competitors. That, in essence, is the problem of adult onset diabetes. But all is not lost. If you make a few simple adjustments, you will outperform by living smart. Let me teach you some biohacks that can tip the advantage to your side in the race of life. The key to staying healthy is learning how to live in rhythm with what I like to call your 4 legs. Let's start with the first 2, your sleep-wake cycle and your feast-fast cycle. Think of your body like an engine. At night, when you go to sleep, the engine powers down. In the morning, when you wake up, it kicks back on. Now, just like any engine, when it starts running, it needs fuel. That's where your first meal of the day comes in. You want to eat breakfast within 1 hour of waking up. And it's not just about eating anything. Your breakfast should be at least 120 calories, but not more than 160. That gives your body the right amount of fuel to start the day without overloading it. On the other end of the cycle is sleep. By the time you go to bed, your body is ready to idle down again. But here's the rule. You should finish your last meal, dinner, at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. That way, your body has time to process the food before shutting down for the night. Now, what about the meals in between? They're linked by timing, too. After breakfast, you should wait 4 to 5 hours before lunch. Then, after lunch, it should be 6 to 7 hours before dinner. These intervals keep your feast-fast rhythm steady and prevent your engine from getting either overworked or underfueled. The spacing of hours between meals also prevent the phenomenon called meal stacking. This is a term that describes when the lunch meal enters the stomach before the breakfast meal has fully exited from the stomach. Repeated meal stacking gradually stretches the stomach over time, resulting in the individual having to eat larger and larger portions in each meal to feel full. This steady progression to supersizing of each meal is the main reason for most Americans being so obese as compared to their European counterparts. By ensuring the ration of intervals of 4 to 5 hours between breakfast and lunch and 6 to 7 hours between lunch and dinner, the digestive system is never overloaded, and the downstream metabolic pathways are never overwhelmed by the amount of calories that they have to burn. So if we put these 2 legs in alignment, we begin to see that if wake-up is at 6:30 a.m., then breakfast is at 7:30 a.m. Lunch is 4 to 5 hours after breakfast, which is 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Dinner is 6 to 7 hours after lunch, which is 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., Bedtime is between 8:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. This life schedule follows a more rural lifestyle pace and is linked to the sunrise-sunset cycle, which is hormonally more in tune with the way our bodies function. Now, if diabetics adheres to this lifestyle structure 28 days out of 30, those individuals will see their sugars begin to normalize as long as they do not place the other two legs of the metabolic table in imbalance. Food is energy. Think of it like fuel. Wood, coal, and gasoline are all fuels, but they behave very differently when ignited. When you burn wood or coal, they release energy slowly, lasting for hours. Gasoline, on the other hand, releases all of its energy in an instant, like an explosion. Now imagine your house has a furnace designed to burn wood or coal. If you try to run that furnace on gasoline, it's going to blow up. Not only will it damage the furnace, but it could also destroy the whole house. That's similar to what happens in diabetes. People with diabetes are like those who were born with wood or coal furnaces, but instead, they're trying to fuel it with gasoline. The result? Damage to the system. But here's the key. If your wood furnace is already burning steadily and you add just a little splash of gasoline, it won't explode. In fact, it'll just give you a quick boost of energy. So the solution isn't to cut out all gasoline foods, the calorie-dense, high-energy foods. It's about balance. Your meal plan should be 98 to 99% steady-burning foods like wood and coal, and only 1 to 2% quick-burning, gasoline-type foods. That way, your body gets the right energy without the damage. Now we come to the last leg of the metabolic table, your fuel energy output. We all know that exercise increases energy output, but what most people don't realize is that the best kind of exercise isn't the quick, explosive kind of a gym workout. It's the steady, consistent kind you get from a more deliberate activity like a long walk or a daily habit of gardening for an hour. Think back to our fuel example. Slow-burning fuels like wood or coal give you the best, most lasting results. The same is true for your body. Steady physical activity provides the greatest long-term benefits. That's why something as simple as a daily walk can be more powerful than short bursts of intense exercise. And even better, activities like gardening, spending an hour hand-tilling soil, planting, moving, and squatting gives your whole body steady, functional exercise. This kind of movement builds lasting energy, strength, and overall health. So here's the big takeaway. When you bring your body's metabolic equation into balance through simple habits like eating in rhythm and choosing steady activity, you're not just improving your metabolism. You're also boosting your mental well-being and keeping your body strong and functional. That means your golden years can actually be golden, full of health and independence, instead of being spent in hospitals or nursing homes. Hit like and subscribe to stay notified in the future, and share this with your friends and family so they can use this news too.